Okay. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank school reformers for giving me this beautiful opportunity to share some knowledge, which comes from real classroom experiences of the teachers. I would also like to introduce myself. My name is Priyanka Jain, and I am an international baccalaureate IB teacher. I have been into IB from last 9 years, and I have been teaching adolescents. And of course, this workshop is also directed towards these teenagers, right? So I have been, with my experience, I understand the challenges with these teenagers face, as well as I respect their challenges, right? So, what is the purpose of this talk? This talk comes from the real classroom scenarios, the problems, the experiences which we teachers face day to day, right? There has been many researches which has been done for understanding the cognitive development of a teenager, what goes inside a teenager's mind. But many of these researches are being in the books. So the aim of today's session is to bring that treasure of knowledge to you all, to the teachers, specifically teaching the teenagers that how they can naturally teach these teenagers understanding what goes on in their brain, right? And I hope that today's talk will going to help you to make your lessons more engaging, naturally engaging, making children learn more, right? And to have better productivity and more efficient learning for the students, making your life and, of course, a teenager's life better, right? So we start the workshop, and I will going to start with some giving you some real experiences which you might have encountered in the class. So I just read out. I provided clear instructions, even repeated it. And then right in front of me, they did exactly what I asked them not to do. So think about it. Have you been through a kind of situation? I'm sure that the situation must be familiar. You might be relating this particular situation, many of the teachers, right? Okay. They know the content, but still forget it on the test. They are smart, but their performance does not match. They don't listen. They test my limits, and many times they get on my nerves, right? Have you ever experienced that in your classroom? I'm pretty sure that this must be your everyday experiences. Okay. Now, let us go ahead and try to analyze that why this happens. So these are some of the scenarios which I just discussed, which most of the teachers have experienced. These are not the isolated complaints. These are patterns. And don't you think so? Since these are not the isolated complaints, right? There must be some scientific reason behind it. There must be something which happens inside a teenage brain that we teachers experience this kind of behaviors from our students, right? So let us try to understand a little bit of biology here, a little bit of cognitive science, that what goes inside a teenager's mind. So I will going to take you to little biology here. I will not going to get into the depth, but we will just little understand what is important for this talk. So there are two parts of the brain which are responsible for a cognitive understanding, which are helpful for a student to analyze, interpret whatever is being given to them. So prefrontal cortex is a part of the brain which is responsible for a logical thinking, for a reason, for giving the reasons, for rational thinking, and of course controlling our emotions. This prefrontal cortex really helps us to understand that in a one particular situation, how do we need to react, right? Then comes amygdala. It is responsible for our emotional reactions, right? It is responsible for a how emotionally we need to react, right? So again, I repeat, there are two brain parts: prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for a logical thinking; amygdala, which is responsible for a emotional thinking or emotional reactions. Now, what happens inside a teenage brain? So, if you look at this slide, there is a comparison between the adult brain and the teenage brain. So, in a teenage brain, the part amygdala is fully developed. I again repeat, a adolescent brain has got amygdala fully developed, which is responsible for emotional responses, right? Where students can think emotionally in the correct order, right? Whereas the free prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for our logical thinking, is not fully developed, right? And according to researchers, it also gets fully developed by a mid-20s. Okay, so that is a basic difference between a teenage brain and an adult brain. So, in other words, in easy words, we can say that adolescent brain is still under work in progress, where the brain part responsible for logical reasoning is not fully developed, right? But the brain part which is responsible for a emotional thinking, right? Emotional responses, that is fully developed in a teenage brain. So now what happens because of that? I hope you have understood that a teenage brain is still under work in progress. So since it is still under construction, the frontal cortex, which is responsible for a control, reasoning, planning, memory, judgment, okay, that is gets fully mature by the age of 25. Even teachers, you can think about yourself, you can recall about your when you were a teenager, that at what age probably you started having control or your on your emotions, at what age you started thinking rationally, and same goes for our teenagers. So this is the reason behind that. As we age, why do we get more mature? Why do we think more logically and then emotionally? So, because of this work in progress which goes inside a teenage brain, what really happens? So, make decisions based on feelings than on logic. So, this is what our teenagers does in the classroom. When we give them some, when we check them, when we prompt that student, this is not the right way of doing. Don't you feel that the student react more emotionally rather logically? They act impulsively without thinking what is the logic. They don't think why the teacher is telling them. They take it as an insult. They take it more emotionally. And of course, since again the brain is under construction, they struggle with focus, planning, and self regulation. So I hope you are understanding the biology behind the way the teenage behaves, right? So, what we often call in a daily scenario in a classrooms while we are giving instructions or in a daily school life, what we call as misbehavior by the students, or we sometimes call, oh, they keep on forgetting whatever is being told to them, is actually not misbehavior or forgetfulness. It is, in biological terms, or in if we look at rationally, it is poor impulse control, incomplete processing of the brain, and of course emotional overload, because they have just one part of the brain, amygdala, which is fully developed, and they are even using the emotional part of the brain for the logical reasoning, so that is overloaded. Hence, what we sometimes call amongst the student body, oh, they are so well bad behaved, right? They trouble me so much. It is actually, the reason is that the biology is into action. It is not their bad behavior, right? So if we understand this, that what happens inside a teenage brain, then why don't we make our teaching strategies in a way that makes them emotionally charged in a positive manner? Think about yourself, that when you were young, when you were studying, you were going to remember the teacher who used to talk to you nicely, or who was good to you, who used to listen to you. You will probably not remember what she used to teach, but you will remember her behavior. So it is the same thing. Children remember emotions rather than logic, and it is just because of their what goes inside their brain. It is just because of the biology, right? It is not because of any other reason, or the reason that they really want to do it, right? So, what is the correct way of doing it? That don't teach harder, rather teach smarter. Okay, so why not we make a teaching strategies in a way that are emotionally uh, charged, that are more social, and they are still help the child in constructing thinking, still help the child to naturally think and does not overload the child with information, right? So it goes in favor of what happens in their brain and not does not interfere with the construction process of their brain or the development process of the brain. So today I am happy to introduce you these 5 simple neuroscience driven teaching strategies. Okay. And these 5 teaching strategies can be incorporated in any subject you are teaching. I will also be sharing with you a extra as a resource where each and every strategy is discussed in detail for every subject. There are certain methods which are being discussed. Those you can say those are simple methods, but as a subject expert in your field, you can take ideas from there. Those ideas are only guiding your thought process. You can build upon those ideas better. So now, how will these 5 simple neuroscience driven strategies help? They will increase your memory, increase the student's memory, manage their impulsiveness, the impulsive, they take the decision without even thinking logically. It also reduces the power struggle. There are sometimes ego struggle between teacher and students, right? It will help you to build relationship with your student and reduce those power struggles. And of course, it will going to mend the behavior of the students also in the classroom and reduce resistance. Sometimes students resist to study. It will going to help you to develop naturally the love for learning in the classrooms. Okay. Now, of course, these strategies, I have not written them, I have not researched them. I am only a medium to deliver these strategies to you in a way that they are simple, constructive, along with examples. But these 5 strategies, what I am introducing you today, is written by Patricia Wolf, right? I studied them when I was doing my master's, and I thought that this is a beautiful knowledge. This is some knowledge which can make the life of every teacher easy to bring it up through this talk, right? So she's a consultant, she's a psychologist, and she has worked with American schools for more than 20 years. And based on her research, she has written these 5 strategies. You can even search about this. You can find this PDF of this book online also, right? So now I'm about to introduce you the 5 strategies, learning and teaching strategies. I will be giving you examples and methods under each strategies. Please do listen to me very carefully. Okay, so now these are the 5 strategies. Reduce cognitive overload, reduce the overload on the mind, on the brain of the child. Use chunking and meaningful grouping. Connect with emotion. Don't worry, I'm just reading it out and then I will going to discuss each strategy in detail. Learning that feels meaningful and memorable. Make it social. We humans are social animals, and so students, children are also social animals, right? Build productive interaction between them. Instead that student waste time in interaction, make the interaction productive, that they learn from each other. Rehearse and revisit. Practice builds the path. Teach to the eye. Visual learning, right? Whatever we see it visually as a video or as a picture, as a diagram, we remember it more than what we read as a text, right? So these are the 5 strategies. Now I will going to take you to these strategies one by one. Now, the first strategy is reduce cognitive overload. Organize information in a meaningful way. Right. Now, according to the research, a human adolescent brain can hold 7 pieces of information plus or minus 2, depending upon the level of the student. Now, when they can hold 7 plus minus 2 information, why not we make patterns in it? Why not we, whatever content we are teaching to the student, why not we group that? Why not we make chunks of it, right? Or we can even make acronyms of it so that big information, big knowledge, big content can be grasped by the student as if it is something really small, right? Categorize it. And these single units are being placed to the student as if there are separate facts. Okay, this is also called as mental chunks. So, what are the different methods by which they can be done? These are some of the methods. You group it. For example, if you are teaching maybe a literature story, you can organize the story. So this first part of the story is this, the second part of the story is this, the third part is this, and the fifth part is this. Similarly, if you're teaching mathematics, you can group the method of solving the problem. The first part is read the question, the second part is write the steps, the third part is solve the question. You can make the groups in this way, which will help the student to retain the knowledge, a bigger piece of knowledge, as if in a simple manner, as if it is really concise. Mnemonics, storytelling way, right? You can divide the content as you're telling the parts of a story, make a rhyme out of it, or maybe a graphic organizer. There are so many AI tools these days. Napkin AI is one of them. You can use it to make the graphics for you, where you can store a huge content in a graphical way, right? Okay. Now I am also sharing this document. I will be sharing this document also with you, where every strategy is given for every subject, right? And these are some of the basic ideas which can be used for every subject teacher, because I want this talk to be useful for everybody. Okay. Again, I repeat, you are the subject expert. All these examples are just given to you to think about it more, to guide your thinking, activate your thought process. These simple ideas will give you route to more complicated, more better ideas which you can put in your classroom. Now, the second method is connect with emotion, learning that feels meaningful and memorable. As a child, think about it, what you remember, what was being taught in the class. You might have a memory, you might have an emotional memory with it, and that could be the reason that you remember what was being taught in the class. So, of course, as we know that in an adolescent brain, emotion is the priority than the logic. Children think logically also through a emotional lens. So why not we make a lesson plan? Why not we deliver the content, making it more emotion, right? Making it more emotional. So emotion activate attention, and attention is the gateway to memory. Okay, right? So the student's information is based on emotional relevance and if it is interesting. So these are some of the ways by which you can connect emotionally with the student, how you can add humor into your classroom. They can be safe participation, empowering talks, or connected with the real life. If you are teaching maybe heart in biology, right? You can talk about some facts from India, that how many people have heart diseases. You can ask them how many people in their family have got heart diseases. Tell your experience. So share some personal stories, make some real life connection. The student will remember the content. Okay. The third strategy is make it social. Interaction builds retention. So if you make it social, children will interact with each other. They will build an informal environment where they can talk to each other. You can do a group activity. Ensure that you do the group activity. Strategically, you make the groups. By strategically making the group means that children of different levels are in the group. When children observe each other, they learn, right? They learn each other patterns of making the notes, patterns of learning, how that person is comprehending, how that person is annotating. They are small, small things which children learn in the groups. Okay. So adolescent brain craves for peer connection, right? Try to have these group activities in your class. And while you're doing a group activity, ensure that you walk around the class and listen to their conversations. Teachers, you will be surprised that you will see that there is a productive learning happening. Children are sharing their learnings with each other. Sometimes you will also observe that children are teaching each other. And when the teaching happens peer to peer, it's a very safe environment where the child does not feel that he or she is judged. Learning really happens. Okay. So these are some of the methods which you can use in your classroom to do the social interaction. Think, pair, and share, reciprocal teaching. You can make the groups of children and tell them that, okay, you will be reading this part of the chapter and then you will come in the class and teach others. Right? So this is also group work. Children learn a lot from each other. Always ensure to make strategic groups. A group should have all the level of the students. You can give roles to the student. You can do peer teaching. Children can teach each other. So these are all the kinds of strategies which you can use in your classroom. Then the fourth strategy come is the rehearsal, revise, practice builds the path. Now, what does rehearsal means? Rehearsal basically means that reinforcing the concept, reinforcing the knowledge by practice, right? When, of course, when we practice, when we revise, we learn the concept better. But now how it could be done in a meaningful way, in a purposeful way, that children does not feel that, oh, I'm just rote drilling it, I'm just repeating it without any real purpose for it, how it could be done. So you can do a retrieval talk. You can do a kind of revision. You can ask the question in your classroom around that particular topic, that children go and dig inside their book and then they search for the answer. Right? You can do many quiz activities in your classroom, or you can make a diagram in your classroom and then ask the children. You can create different scenarios in your classroom or about that concept and then ask them question. Okay. Discussion question. You can call a child in front of the classroom and ask that child to teach that particular topic and ask the children question. So ensure that you are doing this retrieval practice in a meaningful way, right? These are some of the strategies. Warm up review, you little bit review what is being taught, you ask them questions, you do a Socrative, you ask questions, creating different scenario, that what will happen if this happens, what will going to happen if this happens, if I change this unit or if I change this digit, tell me the new answer. You can even do quiz. There are so many AI platforms. There are so many digital tools which you can use. Quizzes, Kahoot. There are many such platforms which you can use to create some revision quizzes, and children love them. Peer teaching. You can even make groups in your classroom and then ask the groups to teach each other. Okay, my child, you're good in this content. You will today going to teach this in the class. The children feel empowered. Children feel trusted. Even the children who are not interacting much in the classroom, who are not answering much in the classroom, they will also start feeling that yes, they also stand somewhere. So that will also going to help you to make your class more engaging. Then the last strategy comes is teach to the eye, right? So what does the teach to the eye means? That you focus on visual memory. You make the things more visual. So teachers, you can think about yourself also. That's something which we see as an infographic, as a graphic, as a graph, or as a picture. We remember that much more, right? You can even show them movies which are related to particular topic. There are so many educational documentaries on YouTube relating to topics. After finishing the topic, you can you can show them those documentaries and ask them questions, right? This will really going to help them. They will even remember it for their learning. And as we call in IB, we should make children lifelong learners. We should try to teach children in a way that they learn it for their life, right? So these are the patterns you can bring into your classroom for visual learning. You can make a diagram, map, color coding. You can make infographic. There is an AI tool, Napkin AI. You can use it. It's a very helpful tool by which you can put up the content, whatever you want to teach, and it can create beautifully an infographic which you can put up in your class, maybe as a poster or maybe just show it in your class. physical models. Students creation means that you can ask the student to create a model what is being taught. You will be surprised to see the creative skills of the students. That's all, teachers. Again, I repeat that I will be sharing with you a separate PDF where I have shared for each and every strategy from each and every subject, that how you can use it in your classroom. But please remember, this is not an exhaustive list. You can get more ideas by reading this. Okay, I will end this talk by a everyday wisdom for teaching teenagers. Of course, these everyday wisdom is not taken from anywhere. This is what I have learned teaching adolescents in my 9 years of span into IB. Always give children a clear direction. If you're giving them some task, some assignment, give them a clear direction. Do not use hard words. Do not use misleading language. If they will not understand it, they will feel demotivated. Proximity and movement. Ensure you're moving around your classroom. Please do not sit while you are teaching in a classroom. Right? Children do not feel focused. You stand in the middle of your classroom, you keep on walking around, you keep on looking at their body language. You can even walk around while they are doing a group activity and try to listen to their conversations. You will get so many ideas. You will might yourself feel motivated that how your learning is helping the children to learn more. Have responsible humor in the classroom. This is a mistake commonly done by the teachers. There is a stark difference between humor and sarcasm. So, if you're putting up a humor in your classroom, ensure that you are not pinpointing somebody, you're not hurting anybody's sentiments. Children have a delicate heart and they think emotionally. Ensure that you put a positive, good humor in the classroom, and be respectful and fair. Be fair with the children. Please do not promote favoritism in the class. Try to be unbiased, be fair to everyone, and that will going to elevate your respect as a teacher. Children will remember you for life, right? So these were the 5 strategies, and this was a kind of everyday wisdom for teaching teens in the classroom. That's all from my side for this talk. So please do let me know if you have any questions. I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Priyanka Jain. If you can stop sharing the screen, ma'am, we can have a better view of you. Thank you. Great. So, Miss Priyanka, I have received a couple of questions from the other speakers on my WhatsApp. So, I'm going to read out the same to you. The first question, ma'am, like so many points you have covered, if you can try to elaborate on each question. So, what's the most significant myth about adolescent brain development that teachers should know?
The teacher should know that children will only remember something which is emotionally connected to them. So if even if we teach them something logically through emotions, children will remember it. And the biggest myth is also that never be too friendly with children. Of course, I understand that we should not be too friendly with children. We should make a boundaries, but making up a connection, making up a relationship, maybe making up an emotional relationship will always help your students to learn better in your classes. So whatever hard work you're putting in making your lesson plans, they will be more productive if you will able to make a emotional relationship. Of course, there are boundaries between a teacher and student, but making up a fair relationship, particularly with teens, having up a good, healthy friendship always helps.
Right. So emotional intelligence in
Yes,
dealing with the
emotion. Yes,
adolescents plays an
absolutely.
important role.
It plays an
Yes,
important
ma'am.
role. Having a little bit talk, if you see the child is little off, ask the child, okay, what has happened? Right? Listening to the child really helps.
Mhm. So this is a very, I think, an important question.
Yes.
So imagine a student is struggling to focus in class. What
Mhm.
neuroteaching strategies would you recommend the teacher to try?
Okay. So I will first suggest that talk to the student, try to grasp from the student that what is the real problem. right? There are many kind of learners, which asking the right question will help you in understanding that what kind of learner the student is. There are some students which get overwhelmed by the load of the syllabus, like the syllabus is huge, so children is not able to cope up, right? Then maybe the first strategy will be helpful, that you make chunk, you make a schedule, give them baby steps. Okay, we will do this thing today, we will do tomorrow, we will do this, the third thing we will going to do this, right? So try to understand what is exact problem of the student, and then uh, attach the strategy. So sometimes you feel that the children is not able to, they are children who have disability in learning, right? uh, which you generally, when you observe the child, you talk to the child, you get to know that what is the problem with the child. Then you can create mind maps for the student, or make the student sit with you and ask, okay, this is the content which I have taught you, now today you will make a mind map of it, and stick the mind map in his notebook, that while you do the revision, you revise through this mind map. So, talking to the child again, understanding what is the root cause of the problem. So, sometimes the cause of the problem is also that they are facing some problem in their home, right? They are facing some personal problem. Maybe they are not able to share it, but talking to the child, okay, I understand that. It's okay, right? It relaxes the child, and then you can apply the strategy according to whatever problem the student is facing.
So adolescent behaviors, ma'am, they are fun, they act, sometimes they act silly, so a group of students are exhibiting challenging behaviors in class. This is a situation a teacher is asking. What
Mhm.
neuro teaching approaches might help de-escalate the situation?
Okay. First of all, it depends upon what kind of misbehavior. Okay, I will take an example that while the teacher is teaching in the class, the children are disturbing the class. There is a group of
Right.
students who are disturbing the class, and they are not letting others to study. So, first of all, if I will start scolding them, this particular group in the whole classroom, right, that will insult them, right? So the strategy could be that I call them separately without the other children and talk to them. That, okay, students, what is your problem? Can you write the reflection that why you're not able to? Is this, never blame the child, take the blame on you. Is there is problem in my teaching? Is there is some concept which you haven't understood? Have one-on-one talk, take them in confidence. Again, the same thing, build up a relationship, right? Or maybe you can make them write the reflection that why they were not able to concentrate in the class, or there was something very funny, let me also, please share it with me also, I also want to listen, that what was that thing funny in the class which was not making you, you were not able to concentrate in the class. So having one on one talk, rather scolding the child or arguing with the child in front of the whole class, I don't think so it will going to do good, because they are doing it for the same purpose, to disturb the class. Or you can even, in our school particularly, you can even give them a suggestion, should I take your classes separately? If you're not able to study with the whole lot, should I take your classes separately? Such things, such talk, it does help in mending the behaviors of the students.
Mhm. So, ma'am, students are of different abilities. How
Yes.
do neuro teaching strategies differ for students with varying learning disabilities, such as dyslexia or
Yes.
ADHD?
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. And this is a daily based problem. So, all these neuro teaching strategies are actually inclusive classroom practices, right? They also relate to UDL, which is Universal Design Learning. So, all these practices are designed in a way that all the students of all the levels can, learn. Of course, the children who are very high level, that will benefit them more. But these children, when we make an infographic, when we show them a video, like I suggested that, why don't you show them a documentary on what you have taught? Why don't you show them a TED talk? Right? These things helps even children who have all these problems, right? And sometimes giving them some pre-read content, or during the homeroom lesson, giving them, making them sit beside you, making the relationship. Okay, I will be teaching this today, but I really want you to read this before, or giving them some extra worksheet, or like in my classroom, what I generally do is I start with simple questions first. Very, I call them, so that student can remember. I have named them as baby questions, so children find it very familiar. I say we will first do baby questions, and then we will going to do a little more difficult questions. So that is how it helps even a student who is a very low level student. If the student is able to crack those easy questions, the student feels confident enough, and then we make the student jump to a higher level question. So this is how strategically we do, but we ensure that the student does not know it, that I'm doing this particular thing with you because you have some problem.
Okay. So, ma'am, so how can teachers incorporate movement and physical activity into their lessons to enhance learning?
The best strategy for them is the strategy number 4, which is a group work.
Uh-huh.
Right? So make groups, ask each group to present in the class, so which will have an activity also in the class. And while the group is presenting, the teacher makes the movement in the classroom, right? The other groups will also be cautious that the teacher is moving around. When the you also um, promote a culture in the classroom that while the group is presenting, the other students also ask the questions to that group, but ensure the questions are respectful, because then the students starts fighting, right? They are respectful. Even if the child is saying something different from you, respect it, tell a logical reason behind it, right? We can even do role plays in the classroom. I have seen that happening in economics and business classrooms. Make one student the CEO, one student the HR manager, and so on, and then do a roundtable conference, right? Then children
Mhm.
also learn that what different departments do. Like in economics class, make children, give them different portfolios in the government. They research about those different portfolio, and then they present their proposals. So this is also a good activity when children have physical activity also in the classroom, and a respectful atmosphere where they learn also to listen from each other. It also ensures 100% participation of the classroom, because most often in classrooms it really happens there's some children who are not very high level student, they just keep quiet, right? So this activity helps every child to be presented in the class.
Great. Coming to the future, what role do you see artificial intelligence playing in neuroteaching, and how might it support or hinder learning?
Okay. It is plays a huge role. I feel every teacher and every student today should know all the pros and cons of the AI. So when I talk from the perspective of a teacher, every teacher should know all the AI tools and how these AI tools can enhance our skills as a teacher, can enhance our productivity as a teacher, right? Using these, I don't know. I teach in an IB school, but I know IB schools are just handful in India. Most of the schools in India may not offer the kind of infrastructure we are fortunate enough to have and to offer to our students. But uh, uh, teachers should get this opportunity that they can use all these tech AI tools. I have during my workshop, I have given some examples like Napkin AI is a beautiful tool which you can be used. Canva is a beautiful tool. Tell the students to make a presentation, tell a student to make a template, right? Make quizzes on Kahoot and Quizzes, use Jamboard, use Padlets. These are some amazing tools which teachers can use. And with the same content knowledge, if you compare two teachers who know tech and AI and a teacher who does not know, but say the two teachers have the same knowledge, you will going to find a huge difference in the efficiency, huge difference in making the classroom more engaging. So I will definitely going to say that AI has a bright future for teaching if it is used in the right way, right? If we are just keep on making the AI write the content for us, then of course we will not going to learn anything. Rather, we write the content and ask AI to enhance it, or I ask AI to give us suggestions that how beautifully, how different ways, engaging ways we can use this in a classroom. Similarly, if the students need to be taught in the schools, we have workshop in a school where we teach students how to use AI ethically. For creative writing, AI should not be used by the students. Yes, they can ask intelligent question, because what question you ask to the AI, that also makes a huge difference, that what information AI gives
Right.
you, right? So using the AI ethically should be taught to the students, I think from a very young age, because we are entering into the era of AI. We cannot afford to ignore it. It has to be part of our life.
True, ma'am. So last question, but not the least, if I had not have the time constraint, I would have asked you so many questions because it's a very interesting topic you're talking on. Uh, we discussed students till now. Let's discuss teachers.
Okay.
What self-care strategies can teachers use to maintain their own well-being while implementing neuroteaching approaches?
Okay. The first self care strategy is, ma'am, always plan your lessons beforehand. Always. Because if planning of the lessons is not done, your class, you will not know in which direction your class is going, which will going to only give you frustration. Rather, with planning so many times, children just behave abruptly, right? And be ready to fail also. Be ready to fail means that if you're trying some new strategy in your class, I think you are brave enough to try it. You should be proud of it, right? And you should be always ready, well planned, and have a proactive approach. You try to think much ahead than the students. I know it is difficult, but try to think much ahead of your students. If you will do this, what will the student do? Right? So, planning and time management, I feel, are very important for your own well-being, because I have experienced, then you start doing work in such a haste, and then the quality of the work declines, which you start feeling bad. So if you do a good work, your health will be good, you will be mentally be also peaceful, that yes, I have delivered a good work. So time management and planning, for teachers, I will also say, I do understand there is a work life balance, but I will little bit say just the opposite. Try to plan during your holidays, Saturday and Sunday, that what you will be doing the next week. It will going to give you peace here, because then you will not be doing the things in a haste. And really telling you, it does not need much time. Maintain proper folders, proper planning beforehand. It will really help you to be emotionally stable, because if your class goes for a toss, so there is then your mental peace will going to go away, from all the sides, from the school side, from the
Right.
parent side, and from the student side.
Thank you, Ms. Priyanka. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions, ma'am. Anything else you want to mention?
I would like to say thank you to you, because I feel that this particular topic was hidden in the books. I actually read this topic when I was in my master's, and I have myself applied it, and I have seen difference in my teaching, right? And I feel that through this talk, maybe this reaches thousands of teachers in India. I am a privileged teacher. I have so many resources, but maybe not all the teachers are so lucky and resourceful. But maybe they can use some of these resources and make their life and the students' life better. So, a big thank you to you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
To you too, ma'am. Thank you. I'll end the session now.
Thank you.